link down here. I just thought I'd show you the new woolshed we're building. We've had to build a new one for a whole lot of reasons, but the main reason is the other one's across the creek. It's getting a little bit older, especially the yards. The shed itself's pretty good, and it works well, the other shed, but this will be a little bit more convenient for us at shearing and especially at crutching time, and it might even allow us to do a crutch just before shearing, which would be a great advantage because that eliminates the chance of stain. So here we are, we've got the pad down. We've got the columns in place. These columns had to have little brackets welded onto them for the C sections. I've done that, I did that. This is old recycled steel that I've had lying around for years. I've also got, I don't know if you can see in the background, but there's some trusses there that I've had lying around for years. Originally I planned to have the shed done by now, but because of the rain, construction, and the trucks couldn't get in, construction got delayed, so I'm a bit behind schedule. Now that wouldn't be too much of a problem because the shearing board and the catching pens come as modules, which I'll put in, and they don't arrive till February. But the problem is that my kidneys are failing, and so I have to go on dialysis fairly soon, and that limits my ability to get the job done. So I've called in the cavalry. I've got a guy called Josh Dunn, who's an excellent builder. He's going to come and help me out with this. He's got his whole crew of guys, so hopefully we'll be able to work in together. He'll be able to do sort of the heavy lifting, and I'll be able to do some simple things like, you know, screwing off tin and stuff like that. So let's see how it goes. I've had to weld these brackets on them for the purlins, and also in places weld on a bit of extra length to them, so they're 3.5 metres. So the shed will be 3.5 metres at the eave. So the concrete area here will be the wool room. We'll have the wool table, the bins and the press here, and a bit of wool storage, and plus somewhere to have a cup of tea. And in here we'll put the catching pens, and the board will be just there somewhere. It'll be a raised board, so it's about 900 millimetres high. So down here I've made provision to put a skillion in, so we've put the piers in for that already, but we won't be able to afford to do that straight away. But whenever we get a good wool check or something, we'll be able to add that on fairly easily, and that'll give us more undercover storage for the sheep. One thing that every shearing shed has to have is a toilet, and we thought the simplest solution was to buy ourselves a portaloo, so we now have Dr. Pooh's TARDIS. So Josh and the boys are here today. They're on the job. We're going to start putting up some columns, so that's pretty exciting. Good to get it started. All the action here. So you're getting a bit blunt, is it?
Oh, I think I bit some steel.
Oh, right.
Let's get it on and I'll cut it off up there, I reckon.
Are they the 5s or the 5.1s, Josh?
What's that, mate?
I've got 5.1s for the ends here.
Yeah, they're all 4, I think they're all 5.
And they're 5s, are
I
they?
think they're all 5, yeah.
Yeah, righto. So we're making some progress on this shed. All the columns are up. We couldn't get all the bracing done because we didn't have all of the C-section here. But that's now arrived at C-section, so that's handy. What we'll do next is get Jeff along with his tractor to lift up the trusses, and we'll also have the scissor lift, and that way the guys will be able to put the trusses up, put the Z purlins on, and put the iron and the gutters on at the same time, I think is the plan. I'm not exactly sure, but it sounds like that's what Josh wants to do. So that was late December, and then it was Christmas, and then Josh had holidays planned through January, so it stayed like that until the end of January when Josh was able to get back on the job. Jeff's tractor couldn't quite lift it high enough, so we had to go to plan B. By going backwards, we got the tractor up on the concrete, which gave us an extra couple of inches, just enough to get the truss up over the top of the columns. So it's a bit of a tricky business to get it centred correctly, but with a bit of manoeuvring and a bit of swearing and a bit of juggling and whatnot, the guys got it centred quite nicely. and then welded on. Lucky enough there's no wind. Until those trusses get tied together with some purlins, it's all pretty delicate and flops around a bit. So we're getting there. This is the 4th truss. They're all going on pretty smoothly. A little bit of fiddling to get them centred. That's the difficult part, but aside from that, it's going pretty well. A bit of prep work before we put the last truss up. It's going to be pretty close to right up. So Josh has got a well-drilled crew here. Standing next to that right-hand column is Brad, and next to him is Jack, and then of course it's Josh that's doing the welding on the left-hand column. Jeff's lent us his tractor, our next-door neighbour, and he's driving that, of course. So they've been working really well as a team, but he got a lot done today. It's great. Okay, so all the trusses are up, and we're starting on the purlins now. That'll give the whole structure a fair bit more stability now that a few of these are bolted together. The scissor lift has been a great thing, makes it a lot easier and a lot safer. Rightio, so we don't have any noisy machinery going this morning, so it makes things a bit easier to talk about. Got all the purlins up now, and if we get a bit of a storm or the wind comes up, it's not going to be such a bother. And now the boys are putting the centre post up. Bit of a tight fit, so maybe they need a large hammer to help it along. Anyway, so that's about as far as we've got so far. Rain stopped play, so we'll can't get over there for another couple of days. The other slight hiccup we've got is that the insulation won't be here until Friday, which is another couple of days away. But there's iron to be put on the walls and a few things like that, so that'll keep the boys out of mischief. Anyhow, that's brought you up to date with the shed. We'll have to do another video to show you the finish of it. Not quite sure exactly when that'll be, but hopefully sooner rather than later. Thanks for watching.